Hello, Issy here from the future. I just wanted to put a little update in before you listen to this episode. I am currently editing it 2 months after we recorded this. That is because at the time I was just about to pop. I was just about to have my daughter, who was born 6 days after this episode was recorded. So it's a little bit all over the place, but you'll just have to bear with us. You can tell that I am heavy breathing all the way through because I am that pregnant, but that has definitely changed now. So there has been a little bit of a gap between then and when we've now put an episode out, but just be patient with us. We are having more coming out. There's so many more cool ones coming out that Chris has done on his own, and he's been out there on his own, and he's spoken to some amazing business people in our local area. So there is some really cool content coming up. Just thought I'd put it out there. Enjoy this episode. There's plenty more to come, and if you've persevered with us and listened all this time, thank you so much, and there's more coming soon. So yeah, bye-bye. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Looks Like We Made It. I'm Issy and I'm joined by Managing Director and Creative Industry Expert Chris to talk all things video marketing. We are the father and daughter who run the video production company Howell Film, and we help everyone achieve amazing results with the power of video across all platforms and media, including TV, in a professional, creative and engaging way. Couple this with a clear video marketing strategy that puts target audiences first, your campaign is guaranteed to deliver. We're always up for candidly conversing about creativity. On this episode, we are asking the question, what is supportive video? So without further ado, let's get started, and of course never miss an episode every other Tuesday by giving us a follow or subscribe, as well as finding Howell Media on Instagram and LinkedIn. Let's go.
Let's go. Hello everybody.
Hello.
Hello. So what is supportive video?
Yeah, supportive, and I don't mean like emotionally supportive, but it could be.
Well, it can be. So shall I jump in here?
You may as well.
Okay. So supportive video is basically when you have a member of your staff or you have other stuff going on and video forms part of the wider picture. So I'll give you some examples of that. Might be a hairdressers might have a TV in the window playing adverts, playing content. So when cars are driving past, they go, oh, that's interesting. When people are walking on the high street, they see the video, they see the store, they join the two together. Estate agents use this quite a bit because obviously they've got people mooching about and they've got perhaps stuff playing when they're not there, or they entice people into the store. So that's a kind of a supporting role. And then the other one, which we're doing a lot more of these days, is for organisations that are attending exhibitions, trade fairs, that kind of like shop window, but not in a shop environment. So yeah, like an exhibition or a trade fair, where you've got perhaps you've got examples of what you're selling there. You've got your own people stood there, but you've got a TV, generally a big TV on a stand or even a projector that's playing content and is supporting what you're there to talk about. And particularly the exhibition side of stuff is interesting because you've got people walking around, often trying to avoid eye contact or whatever, and they're just kind of taking in the scene. It's really, really clear that when there's interesting, colourful, vibrant visual imagery going on a TV, they tend to stop and go, ooh, that's interesting. They stand there and watch it, and then that gives a great opportunity for the people on the stand to be able to engage in a conversation and start the ball rolling. So supportive video is basically a film that plays in and around other stuff that supports your brand.
Yeah, well, you've spot on. That's the end of the episode.
I keep doing this, don't I?
I know, just like that's it. We've unpicked, we've cracked it, we've answered it right there. But I think the key thing with supportive video is that it's not directly the same as a proper promo. Because a promo is obviously you have a captive audience. Ideally, you have people who will engage both audibly with their ears. They engage with their ears, and they engage with their eyes as well at the same time. They engage visually and with their ears. So they are pretty much thoroughly watching what you're doing. But if you have something that's playing, it is predominantly visuals in a supportive
Well, yeah,
video.
that's where I was going to dive in there and say there are two really, really major differences between a supportive video and a corporate video. A supportive video generally doesn't have sound, or even if it does, it can't be relied on, because again, in an exhibition environment, the last thing you need is a blaring video pumping out.
Oh yeah.
Because then you're fighting for the audio space, and it just becomes a nuisance. So generally speaking, there's little or no audio. And the other really, really key thing that we have to take into consideration when we're working on storyboarding, shot listing, and planning a supportive video is that it needs to be able to be joined at any point in the cycle. So say, for example, you have a 2 or 3 minute video on a loop in a exhibition environment. You've got to be able to be 1.5 minutes in and still be engaged, as opposed to arriving at the beginning and watching it as a sequence, as a narrative. So from a creative content perspective, the real target here is to basically still be able to grab someone at any point during the process. At any point they walk past, that they go, "Ooh, that's interesting." And you can't, what you can't have is you can't have a story you're telling where you get all the narrative out in the first 15 seconds and the rest isn't interesting at all. You've really got to deliver visually engaging messages, content to capture potentially a moving audience as well. So again, in a trade fair or an exhibition setting, that person might be walking past slowly. You've got to grab them, and then when they come round again, they might want to stop and watch more. So they're the two things.
Absolutely. I think from an editing perspective, whenever we do any kind of exhibition stand films, obviously, you don't have the benefit of, really big, loud soundtrack music, really powerful stuff that way. You don't have the kind of overall sensory satisfaction, I suppose, within that. But what you do have is, you're right, you do have that thing where actually you're creating a film that might only be watched by someone for 2 seconds, or it might be watched for 2 minutes, and you don't really know at the time who's going to be watching it, why they're watching it, and that can often from a narrative perspective be a very different way of working, because you have to sort of catch the eyes of people, but also there's other ways that you can kind of get people's attention or get people engaged with you. But because we've obviously had our own stands and we've been at expos and stuff, and obviously as a media company we'll want to bring a whopping great telly along with us and play our best stuff, is that actually when the content is really engaging, visually quite cool on the screen, people can't help but stop and just kind of get slightly, I know I hate to say it, but slightly hypnotized by it. Because what happens is that if I'm talking to someone on the stand and you're talking to someone, there's a third person, and you can see in the corner of your eye as an exhibitor that someone is stood staring at your stand, and you can almost clock who they are a little bit, or you can see that they're sort of watching, and that gives you a little bit of time before you maybe finish up a conversation or move on, and then you can go to speak to them and engage with them. It's a great way of just keeping people attracted to what you're bringing out there without kind of being like, oh, just 1 second or this, that and the other. But there are other ways that as well that we've seen where we've put QR codes on videos. We've put things like, well, it's almost like a virtual business card in itself. It saves you printing, it saves the environment by having something playing that people can scan and just get the details they need. Even if you're not there, if you're talking to someone else, they kind of serve a different purpose, I suppose, to, the standard promo sort of style, really.
I agree. I mean, I've got two points there, really there. The first one would be that it's a natural focal point. So that if you come on, if you've got your standard, shell scheme, you've got your 3x3 or whatever it might be, it's a natural, it's a focal point where we are, because we've had a couple of generations now of the TV being the centre of the room, and it's the thing that everyone looks at. I think we are kind of getting to where we're kind of psychologically programmed to look at the TV anyway when it's on. So that works well as a focal point. And I think my other observation will be as well that we work hard to try and dissuade people from just taking their corporate video from their website and saying, well, we'll just play that. That says everything about our business, and that's the wrong thing to do. That doesn't work, because the way that so if you've got visual messages even in form, in type form, so you're saying something on the screen, we would always, in a supportive environment, we would always counsel people to say very little. It's message really 2 or 3 words as a maximum. Whereas what we do find is when people are resistant to that, they go, oh no, I want to put the whole paragraph. I'm going to put the whole company history, and it doesn't work, because what people don't do is they don't read when they're on the move. They just see words and they go, oh yeah, that's cool, that's interesting. What they're not going to do is they're not going to stop and read about Uncle Billy, who started the company in 1827 in huge detail. They're just not going to do it. So it's really important that a supportive video, as I suppose the name, the clue is in the name, takes on that supporting role, that it's part of everything else that's going on, and it's vital that it's kind of it's in there, but it's not the only thing. There's other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's other stuff there to support it.
And I think when you're in when you are in a position where you'll need a supportive video, you're essentially it's assuming that the business or the subject of the business, be it like the boss or a development manager or a salesperson, whatever it may be, someone as part of your team, is going to be in some kind of spotlight at the time as well, whether that's manning a stand and being kind of customer facing all day, but it could also be people who are doing a presentation. So with presentations at networking groups or a pitch or whatever it may be, is that there is, obviously you could just bash out a quick PowerPoint and your words might do the speaking and fantastic, your messaging's there, your ideas are there, everything's great, but the visuals, they're sort of just in the background. But when you are pretty much in the spotlight, when you are representing your brand in front of maybe an audience or a crowd of people coming past, your supportive resources have to pretty much kind of, a bit like when you see artists on a stage and they've got those big kind of screens behind them and they're doing just like funky animations and stuff. It adds to the whole kind of experience for the viewer, because you are performing to an audience in a lot of ways. But how about in terms of, so there's exhibitions there, obviously, with the approach of it's silent, it's in the background, but it does kind of capture imaginations, capture attention. What about those businesses that want to use it in a presentation sense? Because we're very lucky in what we do, is that when we do a presentation, we know we can just make stuff in the background for ourselves. Just
make stuff. I like that.
Well, it's true.
We don't just ever make stuff.
Well, like in terms of like, I'm very lucky that I can sort of make my PowerPoints or my presentations a lot more interactive. But how should businesses maybe use video when they're in a presenting position, like in terms of supportive video and otherwise?
Well, I think that's a great question, because I think that what we have done and we'd like to do more of is the notion that we can help clients to top and tail a presentation, for example. So what they could have is they could have a professionally produced intro, which might be 30 seconds just to set the scene, that then leads into their presentation, provided the technology all works and it all matches. And so there's not what you don't really want is a situation where you have a slick opening video and then you go into some hideous Comic Sans knife and fork presentation that's littered with typos, doesn't fit, doesn't work, and then you have a beautiful closing video. The key thing is to make it all seamless, well thought through, well constructed, and well delivered. So to top and tail something, great use of it. A scene setter, that's the other thing as well. So you could say, okay, well, we've got a little bit of an introduction to the organisation or the service or whatever it is that the people are talking about. Again, because what we find is that so like you're right, we are lucky that we can produce professional video on demand because that's what we do. But when we do a presentation and we put on a 1 minute intro, you've already set the scene of quality. They already know that it's a high order serious affair that they're involved in, and I think that works really well, because you can see it. The audience kind of sit up a little bit, they kind of take notice a little bit, and they know they're in for something professional and kind of, as I say, high order. So I think that works really well in a presentation setting. The other thing as well is, of course, you can embed video in presentations. You can use we've done sort of animated backgrounds for people. We've done things that play in the background, because that's the other thing as well, is you can have something that's just literally there to just to reinforce the key messages, just to reinforce the professionalism, and that might be something as simple as just reinforcing the brand colours, or having imagery working in the background. We've done a number of these things in the past where they're not kind of like, it's not a corporate film per se, but what it is a just a kind of like a subtle reinforcement of brand imagery, brand integrity, and that people do buy into that. People do have a kind of a sixth sense for completeness, and I think that works really well in a number of settings. Provided the technology works, because that's one of my pet hates is whenever I attend an event that you get your audience in place, and then they're fiddling about with the tech, they're fiddling about with the TV. There's someone trying to figure out how the projector works. Rule number one: get there before any punter gets there, and bloody run the thing. Test it. Because instantly, whatever you show, I'm off on a separate rant. I'm off on a separate rant now. But whatever you show, if you show that you can't show it properly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. You could put the best. You could put the best presentation. You could put the best video on you've ever done in your life. If you're fannying about with the controls or has anyone in the room got a HDMI cable and all that, then you've lost it. The magic's gone.
You got to keep their attention. I think we're both firmly in Pedant's Corner for this episode, because I agree. Oh,
Pendant's Corner is back.
We're back. We've found ourselves back in it for 2023, because I think that you're right. You're absolutely right. Is that it's because, I mean, we also have to, obviously, maybe more so that pressure of when we are doing presentations or we are on expos, because we are a visual business, because what we offer is basically, look how good this looks, look how good you could look, is that there's the pressure that we then therefore have to look really good all the time. And when I've done presentations in the past, like I said, I'm a fan of the looping background. I'm a fan of a cool, moving, like fluid background that you got some text on there, you might have a statement on there. But what I really, really love is when I'm presenting something and I look in the audience and someone is or multiple people are using their phones to take a picture of the screen. And that is always something that I think that should be, other than you don't want them on their phone just ignoring you, but that should be the thing that you're doing well with your presentation when you see that. And not to blow our own trumpet or anything, but it is that practice that comes with it. It is, you are on a stage, you are in a spotlight, and I think that find a way of how you can make your backgrounds loop or your video to just automatically play or be prepared for it. And I think that, and it is an element of confidence. We also have to produce our own promos for ourselves. Our show reels every year, they come out and we use them when we present, or we use them on our website, etc. We have our own kind of promotional video content ourselves. And it does, when you've got good content behind you, the confidence it gives you as a speaker is second to none. And my favourite thing ever is whenever we filmed any events or any conferences, my favourite kind of video content that people incorporate into their presentations has to be when it's rehearsed to fit in with the presentation, insofar as they might have a Dr. Hammond from Jurassic Park conversation with themselves on the screen, or I've seen ones where people have walked off the screen and then have walked on the stage, or like there's different ways that you can really incorporate video into your presentation that you can do from home. You can be creative with. You don't have to always have it professionally produced, but I think when it's integrated seamlessly and it just feels like you've practiced it and it feels like you've got the work behind you, it's just so much better. The audience will remember it.
Provided practice, that's the key. Provided you rehearsed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's nothing worse than people that try these. Because it's a fine line between kind of like slick and clever and a bit clumsy and daft. You know, there's a fine. It is a fine line, and I've seen it all. And the same goes for, for goodness sake, get your spell checker out. Get your grammar right. Check, and you see typos in I've seen typos in big presentations, and you think, oh wow, how can I take your organisation seriously if you can't spell? These are important things, and I know we are sticklers for detail, and we have a philosophy in Howell Media about the fact there's no grey area. We're very clear about there's black and white, it's right or it's wrong. I think I think as a philosophy that's really important, because if you set yourself high standards in terms of presentation, in terms of what that everything has to be complete and everything has to be done to a high standard, then you're far more convincing, and people are going to take on board whatever you're saying. It doesn't matter what the industry is, it doesn't matter what the organisation is. You just get more credibility if what you've got behind you is supportive and is looking the business.
Yeah, it backs up what you're saying on a visual level as well. Like, I think that if you are a business that might have a whole factory that you use, or you're a business that you have like a team of 20, or you're a business that's got like things that they would say in a presentation that would sway the audience in whatever way it may be, these promises that you make, or we have an office with this many things, or blah blah blah, whatever it may be, is actually, when you're seeing that on a video, that is backing you up. Like when you're at an exhibition or you're doing a presentation and it's just you with a PowerPoint, it can be quite a vulnerable place to be, or just you with some business cards, because actually you can talk the talk as much as you want. You can sort of tell people whatever it is that, and it's right, or it's true, but they might not fully quite get maybe what it is you mean, or do you really have an office that big, or do you really have that big a team? And actually you can use video to sort of back up what you're saying by showing the scale of what you do, by showing your team, by showing everything, and then it reinforces what you're saying, which is only even better for people who want to buy from you.
And of course it also reinforces that you are actually in the right room listening to the right presentation from the right audience, because when we were called Howell Film, there was one occasion where someone thought that we were manufacturers of cling film. So on that basis, it can, which is fine. I'd have given it a go, but I don't really know anything about.
Oh no, it has happened. Or once when I was at university, and I was we were all sat in a lecture hall, and a lecturer came in and did an entire lecture about a different topic for a different degree, completely without even acknowledging where they were in the room. They just walked in and did it.
Did you just literally just
sit
in on physics when you were doing?
Yeah, we just sat there and thought, all right, history. Okay, that was it. So, but what I mean is knowing your audience. It's knowing who you're talking to, and it is a very, very powerful tool. So we've done a few of them, but there's more to come.
So support. Yeah, but the main takeaway for me is talk to us about it, because a supporting. Let's go for supporting video. Did we say supportive? Either way,
it's one of them.
Either is really, really important, because it performs a different role to your corporate film. It does something different, and I think that is that's worth having a discussion with your creative content provider, because I think it's important to understand that it's a different thing. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. It does, and it literally does support you. It assists you in everything that you do. Cool. I'm trying to think of a question for you this time, and I'm struggling.
Well,
I'm struggling.
I'm quite pedantry at the minute. I've got.
I know.
We've not had pedant's corner for a long time.
I know. I'm running out of steam here, so I think I'm going to have to ask you then. What is the thing that annoys you the most?
You need to be somewhere.
I know, sorry, that was me. That was suddenly, sorry, I'm very popular. What is the thing that is your biggest pet hate when you are watching a presentation or at an exhibition, and when you see other businesses in the spotlight?
Okay, I've got two pet hates. One of which I've just laboured over, which is attention to detail in terms of spelling. In fact, I've got three, so I'm going to be very quick. So, because I've already done 2 of them anyway, so it's attention to detail, spelling, whatever. It's the technology not working. And I'm sorry, you can always tell when someone's winging it. I don't like that. I don't like giving up my time to listen to somebody who hasn't gone to the trouble of rehearsing and learning and understanding. They're the one on the stage. They're the expert. And I want to hear expertise from experts. I don't like it. I don't like it when someone walks in. You can tell when they're not prepared. You can tell when they haven't done the hard yards. You can tell when they haven't rehearsed what they're going to say, and you can tell when they're winging it. And I find that borderline offensive that I've given up my valuable time to listen to someone who hasn't bothered to put any of their own into it.
I love it. I think that's very true, and I would have to agree with you there that my pet hate when I'm in any kind of if I'm the punter almost and I'm walking around an exhibition or I'm in a presentation or whatever is when there isn't an acknowledgement that you are there. I think that's the thing that really frustrates me is you walk past a stand, if the person behind the stand is just on their laptop with a coffee, they don't even look up at you or anything, and you just take a free spoon or a free bottle or something and then you walk off.
What exhibitions have we been to where you get free spoons?
I don't know, I could see a spoon and that's all I could...
That's just you nicking spoons from the canteen.
Yeah, no, I just take it out the Tupperware box and I just carry it out. I don't
know, unless you've been to Spoon World or Cutlery World, I've never been to an exhibition where anyone's offered me a free spoon.
Well, there's a gap in the market.
I've got pens and I've got stuff for my desk, whatever. I've never had a sodding spoon.
Well, at our next exhibition, it looks like we made it spoon.
Right, that's it. Job done. I'm going to get onto. Actually, that's it. I'm going to say now to everybody listening to this, the next time Howell Media exhibit, I'm going to give away spoons.
Well, why not?
Totally out of context.
Because you end up with a lot of random things like stickers and foam badges and things, but like spoons. But anyway, that's not my point at all. What my point was that it's when you just walk around with a tote bag, just taking free stuff that literally serves no purpose whatsoever, but no one engages with you or acknowledges you there. I've had times where I've walked up to a stand, genuinely interested in wanting to find out what they do, and they don't even acknowledge my existence. And that to me is the biggest bugbear. Yeah. But either way, That's that, and spoons are in.
Just to finish this off, right? Because we're going to have obviously sort of organic, biodegradable, recyclable spoons. We can't have plastic spoons or anything like that. What I will say is, in fact, if anybody wants to email us, we'll sort you out a free Howell Media spoon.
Yeah, or we could go deeper. We could go sporks. You never know.
No, we're just doing spoons. It's just spoons are us. But the other bugbear I'd say about exhibitions and trade fairs and stuff is that. I've got enough pens. I've got enough landfill stuff. I don't go to get a crappy sports bottle and some naff pens.
No.
I'm there because I'm in business and want to talk to other people in business. And you're right. If people there's only so many sweeties you can eat. Ultimately, I'm there to engage on a professional level. And I think you're right. When someone doesn't want to do that, then why have they spent the time and the money of being there if they're not going to interact with the people who are there?
Yeah, and
that sounds like we're being negative now, doesn't it?
I know. I was going to say we're actually very upbeat people. I promise. We're starting this series with a whole new fresh outlook, and a passion for cutlery. But I think and I, as someone who's moving house at the minute, I have thrown away a lot of random branded stuff that I've never used. Never thought of using, and it's unfortunate because it's bad for the environment, and that's my pedantry for the day.
Which is why you will never throw away a Howell Media spoon.
No, you won't. You won't, actually.
Right.
If anyone knows any spoon manufacturers, please get in touch.
Yes,
so
there you go.
That
Move
is
on.
it for today. We hope you've enjoyed listening. Of course, if you've enjoyed us so much, feel free to give us a rating and let us know what you think. If you have a question for us to answer or you want to be a guest on our podcast, please go to www.howellmedia.co.uk and drop us a line via our contact form. There's still plenty more to talk about in the world of video marketing. Once again, we're Chris and Issy from Howell Media, and we help everyone achieve amazing results with the power of video across all platforms and media, including TV, in a professional, creative and engaging way. Couple this with a clear video marketing strategy that puts target audiences first, your campaign is guaranteed to deliver. Of course, never miss an episode every other Tuesday by giving us a follow or subscribe, as well as finding Howell Media on Instagram and LinkedIn. Bye for now.
Bye for now, thank you.